Welcome and thanks for having me. I have a very classic safety topic. So I will talk about human factors in safety and especially in organizational safety. And for this, we just have a brief look at some statistics. This is from the EMSA Marine Casualty and Incident Report 2024. So data is from 2014 to 2023, as you can see. And when we look at the numbers, in these years, nothing has changed much. It's all the same. The fatalities have gone down, and that's great, after they've gone up a bit. But in all fairness, it's always below 100, so this is not really a statistical number. And one serious incident, one disaster, will raise this again. But the overall numbers, they don't change much. We haven't improved as an industry a lot on this. And that's simply a reality that we need to face. So the question is, what do we do whenever an incident occurs? Why is it not getting better? Well, what we do is, essentially, we employ training. And we just had the discussion before with Henrik. We usually deploy technical training, pure safety training. We are not looking at the human factors, at the exact circumstances under which an incident has occurred, and what, so to speak, were the human biases and flaws that led to this incident, because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, today is a good day for an incident, right? So what we do is essentially we get a root cause analysis, usually completely insufficient. And in this story, this is a story, real story, all chief officers and all masters had to go for a bridge resource management course, regardless whether they were competent and qualified and have done that just before. No, they need to do it again. It didn't matter. It was pure tick box exercise, and we see this over and over again. This is enforced by authorities. So what the industry does, okay, they are forced, they need to spend the money on this. And that's exactly what we do. This is exactly why we don't see the numbers going down. This is actually a different statistics. That's the traffic accidents in Germany. And it's pretty much exactly the same picture. It's not going down, it's not going up much. We have a lot more cars on the street. We are an aging population, so also does not really help with competent driving, and we drive a lot more kilometers every year. Still, the numbers are the same. Nobody is sending them for a car management course. Nobody is sending them to any technical training whatsoever. And to be frank, I believe that seafarers, especially our officers, are a lot more qualified than the average German population. Still, same picture. So, what is the difference? What has changed? Why do either the car accidents not skyrocket? Or why do we not get our numbers down? Well, one of the obvious reasons is that we got a lot of assisting systems in our cars. We also do build better roads, even though sometimes you might doubt this. But the design of roads has consistently become better over the years. And one of the main reasons is that the people who do this, they actually understand the human factors. And one of the main reasons is because they are drivers themselves. They do drive cars. So they have an idea what would have helped me. They also have an idea what does a human do, what we call human factors. And we know that essentially we build in safety systems, and sometimes we circumvent some safety systems. But this is human behavior, and we know this. It's done everywhere, in all industries. And one of the things where I believe that we are in the maritime industry not extremely good at is build systems that are intuitive and that are correct. One of the best examples, in my opinion, is radar access overlay. What you see on the radar access overlay is obviously all your lovely radar targets have a small AIS symbol, right? What happens is that your brain learns, oh, radar target has a triangle. Does not, obviously, we know this, we all know this. And everybody who is concerned with safety and knows how human bias works, says, oh, this is not a good idea, because your brain will make this connection. And that's not what it should do, right? You should rather have this separated, but it is convenient, because you have all the information at one glance. Is it safe? No. Safety-wise, it's a step back. Convenience-wise, that's fine. But that means what we didn't look at is our Swiss safety cheese. We didn't look at, do we accidentally maybe have removed a slice? And that is actually one thing that happens very, very often. That we remove a slice. And usually somebody who has a good idea about the topic tells us, oh, this will lead to disaster if we remove a slice. And that is actually one of the problems too. When we talk about human factors in organizational safety, that usually it's framed wrongly. So the likelihood that something happens is still very low. Most seafarers do understand that not every radar target has an IIS. Still, we have removed a safety barrier. And the problem is that the people who voice their concerns, what I call the grumpy cats in the company, they usually have a lot of concerns. What they say, this will lead to disaster. They make the mistake of giving a prediction. And in 95% and more, they are wrong. Because the other Swiss safety cheese slices, they hold and they actually prevent the disaster. So what people do see is, oh, we did it and nothing happened. So what in return happens, the grumpy safety cat is ostracized. And that is something that we see over and over again. In German we have the lovely word Bedenkenträger, and it's already negatively connotated. And that's the same in everywhere, in every company, in every industry. And as I said, they are most often wrong in their predictions, because what they do not say is, hey man, we have removed 2 of our safety barriers. This increases exponentially the risk that we have a disaster somewhere. I can't predict that there will be a disaster, but we have increased the risk. That is exactly what happens in all these disasters. From each and every one of these disasters, we knew that there were people saying disaster will occur. They simply didn't know when. And that's obviously one of the main things that we as safety people, as ship managers, as operators, what we want to prevent is obviously the disaster, right? Because that is what really costs money. This is what costs life. This is what threatens our business and livelihood. So as I said, if they start saying, hey, you start removing safety slices, it's a totally different thing. It's not making a prediction. But we do not have a training for this. We do not have a system for that. We are not essentially incorporating human factors. And obviously people love to be dramatic. I like to be dramatic. That's why I just had the previous slide, right? So that is something that we need to be aware of. It's human. So the question is, how can we incorporate those critical voices, those grumpy cats? How can we incorporate them into our organizational safety? And there's a very, very good example. When you have a very important process, and that goes back in time, a long, long time ago, in the Catholic Church, when they do canonization, it's very important for them, because basically if they canonize somebody who was not that holy, then obviously their reputation suffers. So it was a very important process for them. And what they had is essentially a devil's advocate. So they had a role, somebody who tried to find the flaws. We don't have that in our industry. We do not have somebody whose whole job is, today, you try to find all the flaws in this. That's your job. Your job is to essentially destroy whatever new we want to integrate into our process. Whatever new process we want to bring up. Your job is to essentially look at it and try to make it go away. We don't do that, and that's a problem. We also do not incorporate psychological safety, which goes hand in hand with that. Because if you're not psychologically safe, nobody speaks up. Nobody is willing to be the devil's advocate and say, guys, I know it's very convenient to have the actors radar overlay, but safety-wise it's actually not that smart. And what you do with that is obviously you legalize critical feedback. If you appoint people to be a devil's advocate, you legalize that somebody speaks up, and especially if you do this all the time. And that in return leads to a higher psychological safety. And it serves as a continuous stress test and, as I said, as a role model. So it increases psychological safety in the entire community, in your company. Thank you.